So we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, I guess, or maybe even last week, about the possibility that evidence in the Khalid Sheikh Mohammed tribunal military trial had been tampered with. There's an allegation by the defense. We didn't know what exactly happened. We still don't know to a T what happened, but we have a little bit of an expanded amount of information about it, and I want to get into that now. Army Colonel James Pohl, who is the judge presiding over Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's military tribunal, allegedly, according to a May 10th defense filing, in concert with the prosecution, manipulated secret proceedings and the use of secret orders.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, not great. Essentially, what that means is Pohl, in secret, told the prosecutors it was okay. And again, the prosecutors aren't his team, right? He's a United States military person. The prosecution is United States prosecutors in the military tribunal. The defense lawyers are people that are defending the alleged terrorist Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. So the judge and the prosecutors are
playing for the same team.
They're playing for the same team, right? Essentially, Pohl, in secret, told the prosecutors it was okay to destroy evidence relevant to Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's defense, then told the defense much later that he issued a destruction order. But before that, he told them, no, don't worry about it. We're going to save that evidence. It'll be used for you later. Told them that, and then later told the prosecution, like, no, go ahead.
It was a sacrifice bunt.
What the fuck does that mean? What do you mean?
It's they're just playing on the same team is all I'm trying to say.
Okay, well, there you go. You should have just said that. The filing continues. Whatever legitimate national security interests might purportedly justify the near star chamber proceedings that have riven this case, there can be no articulable excuse for so clearly misleading Mr. Mohammed's counsel and preventing them from seeking remedies to prevent the destruction of crucial evidence. A star chamber, incidentally, is a secretive, sometimes arbitrary English court system from the circa 1600s. That's what he's referring to. So he's saying like this secretive, arbitrary decision-making in this court is absurd, and there's no excuse that this should have happened, which I got to agree with you. And then I also have a quote from Karen Greenberg, who's a Fordham University Law School Center on National Security person. That's where she works. She says, this may well be the straw that breaks the camel's back in underscoring the unviability of the military commissions. Remember, a main reason they couldn't have this trial in federal court was that it would have been such a circus, and now you have a full-blown circus with judicial and every other kind of misstepping, which we talked about last week. I said, I don't even understand why we have military tribunals to begin with. We're not grown up enough that we can have a real civil trial or a federal case. Like, why can't we do that?
Because you have to use a system in place. And that's the system in place.
This is a secondary system. You don't have to. We don't have to do anything. We made all of this up. Okay. All of the speed limits, roads, phones, math. We made it all up. It's just stuff that we created. Words, they're arbitrary. Gorilla cages, it's all nonsense. Military tribunals, we just decided one day, well, the military, they need their own. No, they don't. They do not. We can choose to change that stuff. And this underscores that because it's way more secretive than even a federal court case or a civil court case, certainly. And it creates a situation now where you probably shouldn't proceed with this trial. I mean, this, to me, is grounds for a mistrial. But then you're stuck with a guy, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who's supposedly the architect of 9/11, and he's untriable. You can't put him on trial. But what are you going to do? You're not going to let the guy go and be like, whoops.
Well, two things. One, what was the evidence that was destroyed? And two, what's going to happen to the judge?
That we don't know yet.
Because the fact that the judge okayed that is unbelievable.
Well, apparently you are allowed to tell people that they can destroy evidence, which seems weird. There's a destruction of evidence order. But the real problem is not, which is bizarre, is not that the evidence was destroyed. It's that you're defending Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, and on Thursday I'm like, don't worry about it. That evidence you wanted, it's safe. And then Friday I go to Evan, who's the prosecutor, and I go, fucking get rid of that evidence. And then months later I come back to you and I'm like, oh yeah, we destroyed that. You don't have that anymore. That's what happened, and that's insane that could possibly happen.
Well, the fact is, too, is I don't think the defensive team even knew what was there, which makes it even worse.
They did, I think, until that actual information comes out. I don't know. I can't speak to it more than that, but they did. They had an idea generally of what that information was, and they wanted access to it. They didn't get access to it, and then the evidence was destroyed. But it was part of their case. They had that built in. They knew that that was going to be something they were going to use to defend the guy. Not that I give a shit necessarily that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed gets a fair shake, but I do, because that's the only way that we can really justify anything is the rule of law. That's where we take the moral high ground from. Let's do that. Let's actually show that our way and our government and our justice system works correctly, as a contrast to, terrorism and kind of this religious fundamentalism that flies in the face of Western society. But this reinforces their point.
Yes. Also, the other thing is a court case from 1932 comes to mind. Have you ever heard of...
Oh, did it? When you read this, you were just like, this reminds me of Plessy versus Ferguson. Go ahead.
No, it's actually Powell versus Alabama.
Okay.
To argue failing to provide the defense access to the evidence,
right,
would be, quote, would be short of judicial murder, unquote.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, if there's evidence as a defense, the burden is on them in this circumstance.
Yes.
To prove somehow that this guy didn't have to do with 9/11 or wasn't as involved. Like, it's impossible, essentially, their case. So if they have any shred of evidence that can be used in his defense, they need that evidence, right? And if it gets destroyed, they're done. There's no way to defend this guy at all,
and
because everybody already believes that he's, and that's a whole nother story. But yeah, this guy's going to get put to death, likely, right? It'd be nice if we had proof that he actually did it, but it doesn't seem like we do.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah, well, thanks, Bush administration. Again, it's a whole fucking mess that this disaster government put into place.